I wasn't expecting the door to open so soon. The sound of it unlocking sent a jolt of adrenaline through me, my stomach tightening as I sat up on the couch. I had the house to myself, or at least I thought I did. Just moments ago, I had been enjoying a rare moment of peace. No responsibilities, no distractions, just me, my coffee, and the quiet hum of the ceiling fan. But now, standing in the doorway, was him. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. His expression was different. He wasn't his usual relaxed self, not the easygoing, laid-back guy who had left this morning to meet up with his friends. No, something was off. His face was tense, his brows drawn together, and his phone was gripped so tightly in his hand that his knuckles had turned white. "I need to talk to you," he said. There was something in his voice that made my heart beat faster. Not fear, not panic, but something in between. A deep, sinking feeling settled in my gut. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice steady, but my mind racing. He hesitated, looking down at his phone, then back up at me. "I think you need to see this." He held out his phone. The screen was bright, reflecting the apprehension in his eyes. I reached for it, my fingers brushing against the cold glass. Then I saw it. At first, I didn't understand. The image was blurry, distorted. But then my brain caught up, piecing the fragments together, and the weight of it hit me like a punch to the chest. My pulse pounded in my ears. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. "Where did you get this?" My voice came out sharper than I intended. He swallowed, shifting on his feet. "It's everywhere," he admitted. "Someone shared it in a group chat. They think it's you." The room suddenly felt smaller, the walls pressing in. I was careful, always careful. How could this happen? Who would do this? I exhaled sharply, pushing the phone back into his hands. "It's fake," I said, more to convince myself than him. "It has to be." His gaze didn't waver. "Maybe," he said. "But it doesn't matter. People believe it." Those last 3 words sent a chill down my spine. It didn't matter if it was real or fake. What mattered was that it was out there. My stomach twisted, dread settling in deep. The damage had already begun. I paced the living room, my mind racing. There had to be a way to stop this before it spread further. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, a cruel joke, something that would disappear in a day. But deep down, I knew better. The internet didn't forget. It didn't care about truth, only about spectacle. He stood by the window, watching me, his arms crossed. "We can't ignore this," he said. "People are already talking." I stopped, turning to face him. "Who sent it to you?" My voice was calmer than I felt. He hesitated. "Someone in my friend group, but I don't know where it started." That was the problem. There was no clear source, no one person to blame. Just a wildfire spreading through screens, whispers turning into assumptions, into something that could ruin me. I grabbed my phone, my fingers shaking as I opened my messages. No new notifications, no warnings, no apologies, just silence. "We need to find out who's behind this," I muttered. His jaw tightened. "I'll ask around." He was willing to help, but why? Guilt? Pity? Or something else? I didn't want to think about that now. He moved toward the door, pausing. "You're not alone in this." I wanted to believe him. I really did. He was gone for hours. I tried to distract myself, cleaning, scrolling through meaningless posts, pretending life was normal. But my mind kept circling back. Every time my phone buzzed, my chest tightened. Was it spreading? Were people messaging about it? When he finally walked back in, his expression told me everything. It wasn't good. "I found out who started it," he said. My breath caught. "Who?" He hesitated. "It was someone from my class, a guy I barely talked to." I clenched my fists. Why would he do this? He ran a hand through his hair. "He said it was a joke, that someone sent it to him, and he thought it would be funny to pass it around." A joke. That word made my blood boil. My life, my reputation. Just a joke to some stranger. "Did he delete it?" I asked. "He said he would, but it's too late. People already saw it." I exhaled sharply, forcing myself to stay calm. There has to be a way to fix this. He stepped closer. We'll figure it out. For the first time all day, I felt like I had someone in my corner, someone who actually understood what I was going through. The weight of it all sat heavy on my chest. I knew the damage had already been done, but part of me still clung to the hope that maybe this could be erased, that people would forget. He stayed, refusing to leave me alone with my thoughts. There was something reassuring about his presence, steady, certain, like he wasn't willing to let this consume me. It's not fair, I muttered, staring at the floor. One stupid rumor, and suddenly that's all people see. That's People love a scandal. They don't care if it's true. I looked up at him, really looked. He wasn't just angry for me, he was angry with me. A silence stretched between us, thick with everything unspoken. He was standing close, closer than before. My pulse quickened, and before I could process what was happening, it happened. Just for a moment. Just long enough for everything to shift. Then reality hit like a slap. I pulled away, my breath unsteady. We shouldn't have. His eyes searched mine, but he didn't argue. I turned away, pretending I wasn't shaken. But I was. Because now, nothing felt simple anymore. The next morning, everything felt different. The house was quieter, the air heavier. I told myself it was just in my head, that nothing had really changed. But I knew better. Some things you couldn't take back. Some lines, once crossed, left a mark. Silent but permanent. He was already up when I walked into the kitchen. He didn't say anything at first, just handed me a cup of coffee like it was any other morning. Like everything was normal. But nothing was. I think I should go, he said after a long pause. I froze, fingers tightening around the mug. Go where? Back home. Give you space. Space? It sounded reasonable. It sounded right. Then why did it feel like the last thing I wanted? I forced a nod. Maybe that's for the best. He didn't move. Are you okay? I wanted to say yes. Wanted to pretend that I had it all under control, that I wasn't still reeling from everything. The rumors, the fallout, what had happened between us. But I couldn't lie, not to him. No, I admitted. But I will be. He studied me for a moment, like he wanted to say something else, but instead he just nodded. By the time he left, the silence was deafening. I told myself this was what I needed. A reset. A way to move forward without the weight of everything pulling me down. But then my phone buzzed. A new message. I expected another reminder of what had happened, another weight added to the pile. Instead, it was from him. If you ever need to talk, you know where to find me. And for the first time in days, I smiled. Because maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of the story. Maybe it was just the beginning of something I didn't fully understand yet.